Most RAG failures are not model failures. They are retrieval failures wearing a model costume.
Exactly. And if you debug retrieval in the wrong order, you can waste days tuning prompts when the real problem is much simpler.
So what is retrieval debugging really about?
It is about finding where relevance breaks. Did the right document never get indexed, get chunked badly, get embedded poorly, or get outranked by worse results?
That sounds obvious, but teams still thrash. What do you inspect first?
First, ignore the generated answer. Start with one failed query and ask a brutal question. Was the needed fact present anywhere in the retrieved context at all?
Give me a concrete case.
Say your support bot gets asked, "Can I cancel after shipment?" The bot says no refund, but the policy actually says cancellation is allowed within 14 days after delivery. First, check the top retrieved chunks. If that sentence is missing entirely, generation is innocent.
So, step 1 is not embeddings, it is evidence.
Right. Build a tiny debugging workflow. 1. Save the failed query. 2. Write the exact fact you expected retrieval to surface. 3. Inspect the top results and scores. 4. Classify the miss as ingestion, chunking, embedding, or ranking.
Let's split those apart, because that is where people blur everything together.
Start with ingestion. If the source document or passage is not in the index, stop there. Nothing downstream can recover from a missing fact.
And that is more common than people admit, because pipelines quietly drop pages, tables, footnotes, or updated documents.
Exactly. Practical test. Search your corpus directly for the target phrase or a close paraphrase. If you cannot find it in stored chunks, you do not have a retrieval problem yet. You have a data problem.
Okay, suppose the fact is in the index, but retrieval still misses. What points to chunking?
Chunking problems show up when the right information exists, but it is split in a way that destroys meaning. The query needs 1 unit of thought, but your index stores 2 half-thoughts.
Example.
Imagine internal docs say, enterprise customers may export audit logs, and 3 paragraphs later, exports require admin approval. If those land in separate tiny chunks, a query like, who can export audit logs, may retrieve the first chunk and miss the condition, or retrieve the condition with no subject. Both are technically relevant, neither is sufficient.
So, the smell is partial truth. The system sounds close, which is actually dangerous.
Very dangerous. Partial retrieval creates confident errors. To confirm chunking, inspect neighboring chunks around the correct passage. If the answer only becomes clear when you read adjacent chunks together, chunk boundaries are likely the culprit.
Now embeddings. People blame them constantly. When is it actually an embedding problem?
When the right chunk is in the index, chunking is reasonable, but semantic matching is weak. The query and the relevant text mean the same thing, yet similarity stays low, and unrelated chunks win.
So, not keyword mismatch, concept mismatch.
Yes. Take a user query like, how do I roll back a deployment? The docs might say, revert release to prior stable version. If retrieval misses that despite healthy chunks, embeddings may not be connecting rollback with revert, or deployment with release in your domain language.
And ranking is different again.
Ranking means the right chunk is being found, just not surfaced high enough. Maybe it is result 8 instead of result 2. That is a strategic problem, because your answer quality now depends on an arbitrary cutoff.
So, how do you tell embedding from ranking without getting lost?
Simple rule. If the right chunk never appears, even in a wider candidate set, suspect embedding. If it appears but too low, suspect ranking. Widen the retrieval depth during debugging. That one move separates those 2 failures fast.
Let's run the support policy example through the full workflow.
Query. Can I cancel after shipment? Expected fact. Cancellation allowed within 14 days after delivery. First, inspect top results. You see chunks about pre-shipment cancellation only. Next, search the corpus and confirm the post-delivery policy exists. Then inspect neighboring chunks and notice the 14-day rule sits under a section titled Returns, not Cancellations. The chunk is coherent, so chunking is fine. When you widen retrieval, that chunk appears at rank 12. That tells you the semantic match was weak, or the ranking favored shallow keyword overlap.
which means the losing team keeps tweaking prompts while the winning team isolates the stage and fixes the bottleneck.
Exactly. Retrieval debugging is not magic. Check presence first, then chunk integrity, then semantic reach, then rank position. Once you know where relevance breaks, fixes stop being guesses.
And that changes the whole game, because a RAG system is only as smart as the evidence it can actually bring to the table.